this was a story that we were tracking last week. We talked about last week for the one show where I could talk. Eli Erick is a trans activist and influencer who, it was revealed by libs of TikTok, posted on Instagram a few months ago announcing a plan to send prescription hormone pills to anyone who wants them across the country, including minors, in circumvention of states that are outlawing these drugs for kids. Also in circumvention of like every law, of every federal law. I mean, you can't just take prescription pills and mail them to somebody. Much less can you organize a distribution network for the illegal distribution and dealing of prescription drugs, which is what Eli Erick confessed to doing. And it turned out that Erick had talked about this plan many times before. We played the YouTube video with a sort of a confession, which has now been deleted. There were other Instagram posts as well. And then there were these other Twitter posts, which libs of TikTok dug up a couple of days ago, just to show you how often Erick has talked about this. This is on Twitter. This is in violation of Twitter's rules, by the way, of course. Like, you're not allowed on any of these platforms, according to their rules, you cannot use their platforms to facilitate the commission of a crime. And so Erick posted in May, it says, as I've said before, if anyone needs hormones who can't get access, message me. I have a network with years of extra doses. This is only a Band-Aid solution to an ongoing political problem, but we can't rely on the state or medical institutions to keep us safe and healthy. Update, we now have a full network of trans people with prescriptions for testosterone shots and testo gel too. We refuse to let Texas prevent trans youth from accessing care. That was in February. Also in February, after reading about the sickening new Texas directive against trans youth, I will personally mail estradiol and spironolactone to anyone worried about the government coming after your kids. F you, Greg Abbott. Okay, so this is, and testosterone, by the way, a Schedule III controlled substance. But it's being announced on Twitter, on YouTube, on Instagram, this illegal drug distribution plan. Now, I recommended last week reporting this to the DEA. And if you haven't done that yet, then, now I know it's the DEA. The chances that they'll do anything are relatively slim. You should report it anyway. And if you haven't yet, go to the DEA's website. It's very easy to go Google it, find the tip line, and send the tip in. Erick also lives, I believe, in New York City. So if you want to contact local law enforcement, if you haven't done that yet, I know a lot of people have, you could contact local law enforcement, let them know they have a confessed drug dealer running this prescription drug ring in the city. Maybe they should want to do something about that. I also mentioned that Erick is a PhD candidate at University of California, Santa Cruz. Now, I said last week that I'd give the leadership there a day to respond and to tell us what steps they would take to address this before I started giving out their contact information. Well, they never did address it, and I was out for a week. So they actually ended up getting a week. And now it's time to escalate. University of California, Santa Cruz is a public university. These officials have no right to ignore this issue. They just don't have the right to do it. You can't ignore it. Okay, you're a public institution. There's a confessed drug dealer sending drugs to kids at your school. You can't just ignore the public when we're concerned about it. They have to tell us what they're going to do. So here's what we're going to do. First of all, I want to put up on the screen, we have an organizational flow chart for UC Santa Cruz. I want you to take a look at that, maybe take a screenshot of it or something. These are, and you see some email addresses there as well, but there you see all of the whole leadership at UC Santa Cruz. You see all their names there. And these are all people that we should be reaching out to ask, what are they going to do about this? A PhD candidate has confessed to a highly illegal prescription drug distribution ring targeting minors. What are you going to do about it, is the question. But we should start, I think, with the chancellor of the university, who is Cynthia Larive. And we'll put her contact information up there. Now, you can email her, chancellor@ucsc.edu. You can call her 831-459-4291. I would start with her. I mean, she's at the top of the hierarchy. She's the leader, so she should be the first one we contact. There's also Peter Beal, who has his pronouns, of course, listed on his profile on the site. He's the vice provost and the dean of graduate studies, so this is a PhD candidate, also a good person to contact, 831-459-3336, or pbeal, B-I-E-H-L, @ucsc.edu. So I want you to call and email these two officials at the university and ask them what they are doing to investigate the confessed drug dealer at the university, confessed felon. If they continue to ignore us, next I will find the board of trustees and I will find the donors at the school. And we're going to start reaching out to them. And after that, if we still don't get a response, then we're going to show up there with a crowd of people. I'll come there personally because you cannot ignore us. That is not an option. If this was anybody else, if this was not a trans person, if this wasn't hormone prescription pills, but some other prescription being distributed as part of this illegal drug dealing ring, we all know the university would have kicked this person out of the school by now. Instead, they want to give them, instead well, we're gonna give all, not even benefit of the doubt. It's just all the, it is a get out of jail free card, literally. But that's not going to be acceptable. So again, what are you going to do about it, university? You have to tell us. I will not allow you to ignore us. You cannot. It is not an option. Well, I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Matt Walsh Show. If you did, be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel and click the notification button to get more content like this. If you want to watch or listen to the full show, head to dailywire.com and subscribe today. You can also listen to my podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.